and welcome to another edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here at WHBR TV 33. You can catch us on Roku as well as Comcast 91. Glad to be here with you. January, what is today? The 13th, Saturday 13th, 2018. Once again, we're back live in the studio. I was off last week, but I'm here this week. And no, there are no angels. This still is Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. They'll be here next week, though. I'll be out of town the following weekend, but if you want to see them, they'll be back here next week. Glad to have you here. We've gotten off to relatively an on-time start this afternoon, and I look forward to talking with you about a number of topics coming up in the next 58 minutes or so. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee if you're at home. If you're out and about, make sure you download the WHPR app. Take us along with you wherever you may travel, and you can watch us without having to sit on the couch at home in front of a television. We're also on air over digital channel 33 as well. So tell your friends and family to tune in to Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here each and every Saturday beginning at 1 p.m. I wanted to talk a little bit about local and national. Haven't yet got a chance to talk since the new year about what's been happening politically, both on the national scene and as on the local scene. Is it time really to invoke the 25th Amendment and get rid of that individual that's sitting in the White House? I thought with each passing week, it almost seems like we reach a new low with Mr. Trump and the things that come out of his mouth. I talked about it on Facebook earlier this week. Of course, the word that he used to describe African nations and the country of Haiti was so appalling, disrespectful, and distasteful that it cannot be repeated on this program. It was across crawlers on all three major cable news networks and news outlets, newspapers, and blogs over the last 3 days. But for him to refer to African nations as well as the country of Haiti, basically black people, it is finally time for people to come out and just call him for what he is, a racist. But what was even more disconcerting was the fact that yesterday he held a press conference where he went to, quote, proclaim January 15th, Martin Luther King Day, as a national holiday. Well, it's already been a holiday for well over 30 years. Almost 40. So how dumb can you be? But what, as I said on my page, what bothered me even more is why would Ben Carson and members of the King family even show up to stand by him when he made that proclamation yesterday? Did that concern you as much as it did me? Have we reached a new low? What will it take for finally that last 36% of America, if anything, to say, I'm done, I'm fed up with Mr. Trump? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Give us a call. Let me know what you think about the last 72 hours in national politics. Also wanted to mention to you as well, I'm sure you've heard that earlier, a couple of weeks ago, Greg Mathis had said that he was going to hold a press conference this coming Monday to announce whether or not he was going to run for the 13th congressional district seat. Well, it turns out that he announced yesterday that he was not going to throw his hat into the ring, and so that leaves it up to local individuals who are seeking that office, and it kind of reshuffles the deck chairs, so to speak, on the ship that is headed towards Washington. Who is your favorite candidate? Have you thought about it? Who would you like to see be your next representative coming out of the 13th District congressional race? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Some of the concerns that people have had, of course, is will black folk ever get into a room, sit down, and say, look, we need to present one strong candidate that represents all of us? Because there is a fear that the 13th district could end up being represented by a person not of color, skip all that, by a white person. I'm just going to say what it is and keep it real as I've always done. Now, whether or not that is in the best interest of the 13th District is for you to decide as voters, but that has been talked about at block clubs, community association meetings, on Facebook, social media, everywhere else, about the need for representation by a person of color for a majority-minority district. Is that the case? Do you think that Detroit has been underserved and underrepresented by Mayor Duggan, who is now on his second term in Detroit? Is it a bad thing that if a white individual represents the 13th District? Because the city of Detroit as a whole is represented by a white man right now. And it doesn't seem, to me at least, that black people are suffering major injustices. We have an excellent police department when you compare it to some of the other police departments that have experienced problems across the country. The city council is doing what it can to prevent wholesale gentrification. They are, in exchange for granting tax breaks to various developers, they are demanding and getting affordable housing guarantees to make sure that Detroiters have access to housing in all of the hot markets, real estate markets throughout parts of the city of Detroit. And we're seeing vast improvements go forth from downtown and midtown out towards the neighborhoods. Particularly in Brush Park, over in West Village. We see Live 6 coming to life, Livernois 7 Mile Corridor, and Fitzgerald neighborhoods, moving all the way over to Brightmoor, where changes are taking place as well. So we'd like to discuss those things with you. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. We're live in the studio, Saturday, January 13th, 2018. I'd like to hear from you. This is Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. Wanted to also share with you an experience that I had last Saturday, and that's really why I wasn't here. I got a call around 10 o'clock Saturday morning. A young man, you may have caught this on Fox 2 News this past Wednesday evening. A young man who was a Marine was in his residence, and he was there with his girlfriend along with a couple of other young ladies who were in the home. And at the time, later, one of the young ladies left. Another individual came to the home, a man, banging on the door, broke the door frame, and gunfire was exchanged. Now, I won't get into the particulars of the case, but his parents called me in a state of panic, as you can imagine, around 10 o'clock. And the caller, keep on the line. I'm going to get to you in a second. I know that you're there, and I'll take your call as soon as I finish this story. But they called around 10 o'clock, and they wanted me to go out to see him to make sure that he didn't necessarily say anything to the Westland police detectives that he shouldn't. So I got dressed, went out to the Westland police station, asked to see him. And the desk sergeant on duty didn't even give me the courtesy of a look. He was looking at his computer just like this and said, "I'll be with you in a minute." He finished typing and he looked over, and I had put my credentials down. I said, "I'm here to see Joseph Nelson." Put in my bar card and my ID. And he said, "Well, you can't see him." I said, "Excuse me?" He handed me a half a sheet of paper. It had a Michigan Supreme Court case listed on it called People Against Tanner 2014 case. In that case, and I apologize if I sound a little bit stuffy, I done caught a cold too, but in that case, there is law now from the Michigan Supreme Court that says that police jurisdictions do not have to let an attorney see an individual in their lockup unless that individual themselves has requested an attorney. They are not required to do that. Now, even though that has been law for the last 3.5 years, I've never been denied the right to visit an individual who has been detained by the police when the family has paid for me to do so. So I was taken aback at that. I then said, "Well, what is he charged with?" "Well, I don't have to tell you that either. He hasn't been arraigned yet." And I'm looking at this guy, and I was stunned because, again, that's never happened before either. So he told me very snarkily, "Well, if you give me your card, I'll let him know that if he asks for you, I'll let him know." I turned and looked at him and I said, I don't have any confidence that you'll do that either. And I turned and left. I called his parents, and they then wanted me to go ahead and writ him out. So I went and found a judge, secured the writ of habeas corpus, and what that means is that that person is to be released on the order of the judge. I came back and brought the writ to them. They refused to honor the writ. They looked at it and said, well, I don't know what kind of games you're playing. I said, excuse me? This has the signature of a sitting circuit court judge. Well, we did some research and we found out that she has the same address that you did. I said, yeah. I trained her when she came from Ohio. We shared office space until she got elected 6 years ago. But here's her current address in the Bar Journal. Well, yeah, I see that she's a judge. Well, then why are you worried about where she practiced 6 years ago? They would not release him on her order unless she came up there herself in person. She talked to them over the phone, and they still refused. Nevertheless, I wound up having to leave. I got the discovery, that's the police reports and the investigation materials from that incident yesterday. In that case, the detectives admitted twice that my client asked for a lawyer, and they ceased talking to him. He asked for a lawyer around 1:30 that morning, almost 10 hours prior to my arrival. And they still denied me access to my client. This is the same police department that less than 4 weeks ago, a young man by the name of William Marshall died while in their custody. There was a protest rally held on behalf of Mr. Marshall yesterday. Westland Police, you have some answering to do. And you're going to do that answering in federal court under a 1983 civil rights violation. At least from my standpoint, from denying me access to see my client when he had in fact asked for a lawyer. Now, I can say this, and I'll take your call, caller, in a quick second. It is widely speculated that Bill Wild, the mayor of Westland, is going to run for the 13th Congressional District. I've had Mr. Wild on my show here at WHPR about 4 years ago when he ran for Wayne County Executive. I like Bill Wild. I was immediately drawn to him then. But if this is the type of attitude and behavior and treatment that black people can experience by the Westland Police, Mayor Wild needs to address this, especially if he has his sights set on representing a majority-minority district later this year. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, 868-0351. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Meyer Walls. Hey, Cliff.
How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, fine.
Good.
Two things.
Mm-hmm.
Two questions. Two things. I heard just mention Bill Wild. I just heard a rumor the other day. Well, it's not a rumor. Warren Evans was going to make a special announcement on the 22nd of this month, January. And it's a special announcement. I can't see a special announcement being to announce campaign for re-election for his seat. Somebody said he might be running for Congress seat. Now, just with that in mind, there is a special election, a special announcement set up for the 22nd. So that would be interesting. And,
really?
Don't count Bill Wild out because.
Myron, he had publicly went on record saying that he was not interested in that seat.
Yeah, but then I heard from somebody around his camp, put it that way, that he had a special announcement scheduled for 22nd, and that's true. I got an email about it.
Okay.
And what would a special announcement be to say that he's going to seek re-election for Wayne County Executive? Why a special announcement? So, and just keep that in mind. That'd be interesting. And then the other thing is, what's the name of that movie about police brutality? There's a movie coming out.
I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, there's some on they showed on television a movie coming out about police brutality around the country.
Okay, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it while.
Right.
But go ahead with your
advertising
thought.
It.
Say that again. Go ahead with your thought.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. How are things over at
Happy New Year.
How are things over at WC3? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Oh, that's fine. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah, see, where Dr. Ivory's building where he resides over at Riverfront, they had a major leak. So I guess probably a water leak and flooding in the bottom level of the front, the fancy Riverfront apartments.
Are you talking about? Well, I just found something called "Dragged Across the Concrete." Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, starring Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn.
I think so. Yep.
Okay. All right, we'll have to look out for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Myron, keep in touch, man. It's good hearing from you.
Will do.
All right. Thanks for calling.
All right.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Hey, Clark.
How are you?
I'm all right. Once again, congratulations to come back to the station, and I'm glad to see you got your slot back.
I'm glad to be back here as well. How are you? How you doing?
I'm all right. I got in just in time to hear some of your comments, what you experienced. But all I got to say is Prison Planet. And
You're breaking up. Say it again. Okay, you disappeared. I can't catch you anymore. Nope, you're not coming through anymore. Call me back because you blanked out. Okay, try it again. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. We've been talking about perhaps a couple of things, really. The upcoming election. We've got a rumor, according to WC3 District Trustee Myron Walls. He said that there's an email coming out that Warren Evans has a special announcement set for a week from Monday. And there's speculation that he might throw his hat into the ring for 13th District Congressional seat. Has anyone else heard that? If you have, give me a call. Let me know. I know he had told the media that he had not intended to run. He had told me himself some time ago. This was before John Conyers retired, but he had told me himself personally that he was not going to run for any other seat, that he was going to run for re-election for Wayne County Exec. Now, I don't know if that's changed. We'll have to see. I personally enjoy him in the county exec seat. I hope he stays there. But if he has aspirations of higher office and going to Washington, I won't fault him for that, and thinks that he would be a good candidate for that as well. But I really enjoy, and I think the county needs him as the Wayne County executive. It'd be interesting to see who would move over into that seat should he do it. Of course, the first thought would be Benny Napoleon would then, change offices and move over from sheriff to county exec. But we'll have to see how that plays out. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Let's see if we have her back on the line. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Okay.
You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards. All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So as I was saying, Executive Order 13603, if you ever had time, look it up for yourself to see how it will be stripping people of more constitutional rights, and it's going to be more of crimes against humanity and dictatorship. So now you got a Trump in office who's carrying out that very sort of thing as being a dictatorship and stripping people of more rights, and it's just a crime. But with the district, I see that the judge had pulled out. Judge Mathis had pulled out, and I would nominate somebody like Claude Anderson, somebody that knows how and has been in the fight for the longest for the reparations, for us to have the same playing level field that everybody else seems to be able to have enough money to get, except when it comes down to us, there is no more funding or there is no more cost for us to have our communities safe and uplifted and empowered with a lot of economic needs that it's suffering from every day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's basically all I have to say right now. I'll just sit back and listen and see what's what and who's who.
Well, who do you think should represent the 13th District? Now that Judge Mathis has declined to run for the seat, who do you think should run?
Like I said, I would nominate somebody with Claude Anderson's status because of the information and the power that he has to build economics in your community, somebody that's been actually doing it.
Well, like who?
I think I would probably go with Coleman Young because he has, the wants and the will to, do fair justice for all, and especially for us because we still getting left behind when it comes down to equality.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you for that.
All right, we appreciate that. Bye-bye. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. We've been having a conversation with the audience really about three things. The national political climate with Donald Trump, and I just cannot use the word president in conjunction with that man. I have never been able to do it. I'm not going to do it now, and I don't see myself doing it in the future. But with the political climate being that of what it is, and the GOP is either distancing themselves or ignoring the things that come out of his mouth. Most recently, what he said a couple of days ago about African nations and the country of Haiti. And few people are actually willing to go on record and call the man what he is, a blatant racist. Now, if this doesn't prompt black people to go out and vote in the midterms this fall, I don't know what will. Does this energize you to get up off your behind and go out to the polls and cast your vote? Not just Detroit, but this needs to happen across the country. We've got another call. Let's take this one. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Okay, that's me?
Yeah, it's you.
All right, Cliff. Now, if you notice when white people talk about him, they never says exactly what he is.
Right.
But then you can get black people to go on these networks and support Trump. And the man is an idiot. He ain't fit to be dog catcher, and I think he should be impeached immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it takes to get his ass out of office, get him out. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. You're watching Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here at WHPR TV 33, Comcast 91, and you can catch us on Roku using our app on Roku, or you can download the app to your mobile device, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet. Just search in your app store for the WHPR app, download it to your mobile device, and you can take all of the great programming here at WHPR with you along the way. We're going to take a quick break at the bottom of the hour. We'll come right back after these messages, and we'll continue Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards right after this. And we're back. Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards continues here at WHPR TV 33, as well as on Comcast 91 and on the Roku device. You can download the app either there or to your tablet or your cell phone. Just search in your app store for the WHPR Now app, and you can take us along with you wherever you may travel. The call-in numbers you can see across the bottom of your screen there, 313-868-4336, 868-0351, and 868-0351 and 868-0342. Had a brain freeze there for just a second. We started off the top of the program talking about, of course, what's on everyone's mind is the craziness coming out of the man seated in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue by the name of Donald Trump and the disparaging things that he has said about African nations and the country of Haiti, calling them just vulgar terms. And we're discussing the 13th Congressional District. Who might you want to see there, especially now that Judge Mathis has decided that he is not going to run, and there's even speculation as to why he decided that he wasn't going to run for that office as well. Nevertheless, it is now wide open, and there are a lot of interesting names that have been rumored for that seat. We had Trustee Myron Walls call in and say there might be a teaser that Wayne County CEO Warren Evans might make such an announcement a week from Monday. I think State Representative Sherry Gay Dagnogo is probably going to announce her interest in that seat very shortly. People have talked about Brenda Jones, Mary Sheffield, David Kniezek, Bill Wild out of Westland. Coleman Young has already said that he is thinking about, and in fact he's going to run for this seat, and as well as State Senator Ian Conyers, and even perhaps John Conyers' son himself, although no one has heard from him thus far, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always welcome to be corrected on this particular show. But what are your thoughts on that as we enter 2018? And that race seems to almost overshadow the governor's race. Gretchen Whitmer is, in fact, seemingly the only Democratic candidate that has gained a lot of traction. Well, I take that back. Syed, who used to be the former health director of the city of Detroit, is also in that race. Bill Cobbs is in that race, as well as another young man as well. But a lot of individuals have coalesced around Gretchen Whitmer. Abdul Syed has gotten a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, if you will. But what are your thoughts on the gubernatorial race? The polls are now showing, although it's very early, that Bill Schuette on the Republican side is even beating Gretchen Whitmer right now by about 3 percentage points. That still is within the margin of error. But do you think that it's possible that Michigan Democrats could come back home and elect Gretchen Whitmer, or will we continue to see GOP leadership in the governor's mansion? I'm interested in your thoughts about that, too. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. This is Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. That's where I want to hear from you and your thoughts about it. I know that a lot of you are sitting at home trying to stay warm on this frigid day. It's about 17 degrees outside right now, and we're expected to go up no more. It's stuck at 17 degrees throughout the day. So give us a call and let us know what you think about these various thoughts. I also mentioned an incident that occurred last Saturday. That's why I wasn't here on the air when I started this morning, about Westland and the incident that I had in Westland trying to see my client after he had asked for a lawyer himself. Those police had the audacity to deny me access to that young man. It even extended the next day when I called the court. I'm sorry, the Monday. When the court opened on Monday, I called the court immediately to find out if he was going to be arraigned on those charges. When I called at 8:30, they told me they did not have the paperwork. I left my name and contact information with the court to find out so they could let me know that if in fact he was going to be arraigned. I called back about an hour and a half later. They had arraigned him without my representation. A lot of times it can be a completely different universe when you are outside Detroit, and the way that they respond and treat black people and black attorneys outside the city of Detroit. Even Loretta Lynch, a famous celebrity, said yesterday in response to Trump's statement that he made, it appears that we have gone back in time. And that's something that we can ill afford to do. And so when you see that type of speech, that type of attitude, that type of behavior coming all the way from the top, our elected official, our person that was elected president, say those things, you don't think that that emboldens, that empowers white people all across the country to say what they have always felt, to treat people of color any kind of way that they want? But the only way to stand up to this is to stand at the polls and cast a vote to remove this type of cancer from our government. That's the only way to do it. We can have conversations like this all we want. We can talk about this on talk shows all we want. But if we don't exercise our right to vote to make those changes, this will only continue to get worse. 313-868-4336, 868-0341, and 868-0342, and 868-0351 are the call-in numbers. I'd like to hear from you and your thoughts about where we go in 2018 to make a difference, to make it better than it has been. It almost seems as though President Obama's administration were 10 years ago. Our heads are spinning. It's hard for us to keep up. We are inundated by this lunatic's tweets. We are demoralized by everything that is coming out of that administration. And it is eventually going to tear this country apart. We are now the laughingstock of the rest of the world. Russia is continuing to hack into our elections and meddle in our business, and nothing seems to be done about any of that. So where do we go from here? How do we make it better? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. One of the other things that I saw as we closed out 2017 and went to 2018, I think the number was 267 murders in the city of Detroit last year. And if I can, let me find something that I wrote. I wanted to share with you about my thoughts as it relates to the murder rate and why people, and I truly respect Chief Craig and the efforts that he's done in the city of Detroit thus far to try to make the Detroit police more community oriented, and he has done a phenomenal job with respect to that. And yes, crime is down, but I don't think that we should throw a party, a ticker tape parade. I think we should keep our heads and our feet to the grindstone and continue working and building relationships in the community. And I refer to this as the body count is lower, but the rate is still much higher. Detroit police officials rang in 2018 with the welcome news that the city experienced the fewest homicides in more than 50 years. Last year, 267 people were murdered, the lowest number since 1966, when 214 killings were recorded. Before we celebrate how safe our city has become, these numbers, though, must be put into context, particularly using the per capita rate, which normalizes the data over time and by population. While the hard numbers are true, Detroit's population over the past 50 years has declined by almost 60%. In 1966, when 214 people were murdered, over 1.6 million people called the Motor City home. The per capita murder rate was slightly more than 13 per 100,000 residents. Last year, Detroit's population was estimated to be about 670,000. The 2017 per capita murder rate was 39.5 per 100,000 residents. As a result, even though last year's body count was the lowest it's been in 50 years, the likelihood of you being killed in Detroit is still more than 3 times greater than it was in 1966. So let that sink in just for a second. Even though there were less than 300 murders in Detroit, you have a greater likelihood, 3 times as many chance of being killed in the city of Detroit because the population has shrunk so low. But how do we get to where New York is? Where New York has almost more than that, actually, times 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost 10 times the number of people living in New York. Actually, it's more than that. It's about 12. 12 times the number of people live in New York that live in Detroit. And they have fewer murders than we do. What is New York's solution? What's working in New York that's not working in Detroit and working in Chicago? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Good morning. Good evening, Brother Cliff.
How are you?
Peaceful, Brother Cliff.
Good.
Brother Cliff, 2018, America's under God's divine judgment. As we continue to watch the cold weather, the floods, the mudslides, the fires, the killings, you got a president that's in office. He's the 45th, 4 and 5 equals 9. 9 means the number of completion. And you're looking at, understand, 2 nations within a nation, 40 million of us or more, with a spending power over $1 trillion, and we steady trying to force our way to be accepted in a system that has rejected us since they brought us here. And we will be forced to go free, or we will be killed. And as we continue going 2018, keep watching the very forces of nature. Keep watching the mindset. All the nations, understand, are becoming more and more angry with America. America's falling right before our very eyes. The nation hate Americans and whatnot. And you got to pay attention to the time and what's going on, Brother Cliff. We need to get behind Minister Louis Farrakhan, the champion for black people. And he said it all. Get a chance, go pull up that tape, the press conference he did to Donald Trump, November the 16th, 2017. Go over that tape, understand, and it'll blow you away.
Okay.
Have a blessed day, Brother Cliff. Love you, man.
All right. Thanks so much for your support. I appreciate you listening and watching this afternoon. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351 if you want to weigh in on today's discussion. We have a number of topics for you to express your opinion about this new year and where we go in the remaining 11 and a half months. I can't believe it's January 13th already. We're already 2 weeks into the new year. But we've been talking about Donald Trump and his ludicrous statements, his disparaging, his racist, hateful comments that he made referring to African nations and the country of Haiti, along with all of the other things that he has done to disparage people of color, where he accused Mexicans of rape. He has accused immigrants of being criminals, and he only wants individuals coming in from Norway and Finland. And we've talked about the 13th district race, which is wide open right now. And I'm asking, who is it that you want to see representing you, especially if you live in the 13th district? Who do you think should be the suitable replacement for John Conyers, who had been there since 1964? I'm interested in what you think about that race as well. We have the governor's race, all of the state house seats and state Senate seats are up this year, as well as judges are up in 2018. So there's a lot happening at the polls. So I want your thoughts on that. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Am I on there, Cliff?
You are.
Oh, okay. I agree with your last caller. We constantly believe in a system that never was designed for us. Trump, they will do nothing to Trump because they're all in on the Trump. We're the ones being trumped. The fact that he can say and do anything he want to do. Now, you had a President Obama. My question is, everything that Obama put in place, this man could come like they do our communities and our history and erase. So that's telling me that the national racist white group continues to be in all departments, that it's tied into all these departments, and that's why you get the shaft at the police department. It's because all these unruly people, powers to be, are running everything. So for us to think that we can go to the White House or we can vote ourselves into freedom, I don't think it can happen, because people are constantly being compromised. If they don't kill them, then they have to do what they're told. They have no control. And, you know, I've been saying that for a long time. And this is why this man can get in on that White House and do and say anything he want to do. And to me, he's taking plenty of pages out of Hitler's book. If you look at his character and the things that he's saying and the things that he's doing, it looks like history is repeating the same old austerities.
Well, let me ask you this before you get off the line. What do you think about? Did you watch Oprah's speech on the Golden Globes?
Yes, I love Oprah.
What did you think about that speech and the possibility that she might be interested in running against Trump in 2 years?
But see, that's my thing. Just like the last guy said, we keep trying to think that this system was carved out for us, and it never was. Even if she did run, she would just be another token to do what somebody tell you to do. You still have no voice, no control. You do what you're told. They shut her down when she went after the meat industry. They shut her up and shut her down.
Wait a minute.
You ain't heard nothing else about that mad cow no more.
So are you saying President Obama's 2 terms was a waste? Is that what you're saying?
Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. Hollywood can dress up and dress down anybody, but when they get through and when the smoke is clear, you still standing in the same place with less than nothing. You still considered less than human. And you see how they turning up the flames on killing, and you got more crimes against humanity than ever before. Nothing's changed. It remained the same, and the heat is being, you know, like I said, the fire is being lit higher.
Okay. Well,
thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Have a great afternoon. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. If you want to get in the next, looks like 8 minutes or so, and let me know what your thoughts are. And we've got another caller on the line. Keep them coming through. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards. You're on the air.
Nonsense, Cliff. They cried when Obama got in office. They cried when Trump got in office. They're going to cry when Oprah get in office. Same old song.
So what's the answer, man?
I have no idea. I'm just watching the soap opera.
Well, you know what I want. I just want my own private island. Turn your TV or radio down. I'm hearing the feedback in it, so that way we can talk a little bit quicker.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, go ahead. But I think my solution has always been I just want my private island.
We're going to cry tears every election. You know, I don't see any change.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see what happens with that. I appreciate it, though.
Take the ride.
All right. Have a great afternoon. 313-868-4336, 8342 and 868-0351 if you want to express your thought or opinion about Donald Trump and his vulgar racist speech, or tell us who you think should be the replacement for John Conyers, your thoughts on the upcoming governor's race. We've got a lot coming up in 2018, and why it's important to get out and make your vote count this year, probably more than any other time. We're also going to wind up having to deal with redistricting, because in 2020, that is when redistricting comes, when the census is taken, and whoever controls the state legislature will control how the districts are redrawn for the next 10 years. That's how we got into this mess back in 2010, as a matter of fact, because Republicans controlled all branches of the state legislature and the governor's mansion. Is that what you want to see happen again? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Want to share with you, before I get off the air, a recent rant I had, and hopefully it will touch home with you as well as we get ready to close out today's episode of Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. I call this one, Hustlers, Charlatans, and Other Exploiters are the real reason why black businesses lose Detroiters. 1 week ago, my good friend Carrie Leon Jackson discussed why some black people don't patronize black businesses on his show entitled The Urban Conservative. However, I think the lack of support extends beyond black businesses into black neighborhoods. There's a reason why some black Detroiters don't want to shop in Detroit, let alone support a black business. Last Saturday, I went to the Detroit Meyer store located at 8 Mile in Woodward. While walking down an aisle, I was approached by two young black men carrying color copies of an informational sheet entitled HBCU School Tours inside clear plastic covers. They told me they were seeking donations to assist them in traveling to the HBCUs in order to determine which college would be best. I asked one of them which high school he attended. He answered, Melvindale, and then pointed to his supposed 3.5 GPA, which was printed on the informational sheet. This was not the first time I've been approached from supposed high school students asking for money to attend a college tour. The last time a black kid tried that, he told me he went to Cass Tech, but couldn't name its principal. Of course, it's the outstanding Lisa Phillips. Also troubling was the fact that if these young men were still in high school, they must have flunked a couple of grades. They looked old as hell and had more facial hair than I do. Thus, I politely declined, and my friend and I walked away. Almost immediately, and before I could get out of earshot, I heard a the kind one hears when a black person thinks another one is bougie. But the larger issue remains. Apart from the Salvation Army at Christmas, in the suburbs, I don't have to experience people begging for money and or donations outside Meijer, Walmart, Kroger, or any other retail establishment, let alone inside the store. However, in Detroit and in Highland Park, beggars, bootleg DVD men, hustlers, and other charlatans are so prevalent at gas stations, grocery stores, and fast food outlets, they are basically woven into its shopping fabric. In fact, at the Popeyes in Highland Park, right down the street from here, and the McDonald's at 7 Mile and the Lodge, the store managers allow these entrepreneurs to freely operate each day, and on occasion, they have more customers than the fast food joint itself. Why is this so acceptable in Detroit, though? Why do gas station owners allow seemingly otherwise strong, able-bodied men to blatantly loiter all day long? Why do these fast food managers essentially sublease part of the dining area to people that are in effect committing felonies? Who was the store manager that permitted these young men to troll the aisles in Meijer, approaching its customers? And where were the DPD officers who make a second living working a secondary job at 8 Mile and Woodward? You don't see this kind of foolishness in Canton, Troy, Westland, or Sterling Heights. Finally, where are those Detroiters who are constantly screaming about the neighborhoods? Well, neighborhood improvement starts with the neighbors themselves. If you want better, you have to do better. And you can't expect better until you be better. There, I said it. That's about all the time that I have for this edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodward. I want to thank each and every one of you for calling in and expressing your thought, opinion, suggestion, or comment. Without your participation, there wouldn't be Your Turn with Cliff Woodward. As I said, won't be here next Saturday. I'll be out of town, but the Angels will be back here in my place next Saturday at 1 o'clock. You want to make sure you come back for them. They'll be talking about your relationships and a lot of other great topics essential for your health and enjoyment and well-being here in the city of Detroit and Highland Park. I want to give a shout out to R.J. Watkins Jr. for producing this program as he does each and every Saturday in his most upstanding and professional manner. I want to once again thank R.J. Watkins Sr. for the opportunity to be here as well. I'll look forward to seeing you back here again on January 26th. Make it a great couple of weeks. I'll see you, as I said, in 2 weeks. As my grandmother used to say, if the good Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. That's a wrap, RJ.